Off-market properties are properties that are for sale, but not publicly advertised on major real estate platforms like Real Estate or Domain. Unlike pre-market properties, which may eventually be listed, off-market properties are often sold discreetly through private channels. Why are properties sold off-market? There's about 4 to 5 main reasons, maybe even 6. I'll add a sixth one. But number one, seller privacy. Some sellers, they just don't want public exposure, open inspections. They don't want 20 groups walking through their house and things like that. It can be a bit annoying for them. Another reason why properties are sold off market is sellers might want to have a more targeted approach. They only want to deal with serious buyers. When you're putting something online, a lot of people who inquire about it, and more than 50% of those inquiries might not even be serious buyers. Even people attending the open homes, they can just be people looking to do market research or just wanting to attend open homes just for fun. Right. Sometimes they just want to deal with serious buyers and not waste any time. Another reason is a quick transaction. Sometimes when you're putting it on market, it could be like a long marketing campaign, which sellers might want to avoid, and they just want to sell it quickly off market, just get the deal done straight away. Another thing is market testing, which can be a bit annoying as a buyer because sometimes you think you found a really good off market opportunity, but the sellers are just testing the market. They're just seeing off market what interest or what offers they can get. So then when they take it onto the market, then they know what type of prices they should expect to get around like minimum, which can be a bit annoying. So these, I guess you could say, aren't even truly off market opportunities because they're just being tested off market before they get taken onto the market. Another reason is financial or personal reasons. People could be going through a divorce or financial hardship. That's why they're selling their property and they don't want to make it public. Another reason I'd add there is some people might want to just save thousands of dollars on advertising fees as well. So that could be another reason why they're trying to sell off market. Now, for investors, off market properties can mean less competition, better deals, and greater negotiating power. But it doesn't always mean this. Some off-market properties can still have a lot of competition because a lot of buyers agents and smart investors are all over these off-market opportunities that are coming straight from the sales agents anyway, because they're contacting all the sales agents. They got good relationships with them. So especially in these hot markets or warm markets that we're trying to buy in to make capital growth, a lot of buyers agents and investors are buying in these same areas. So they're going to be contacting these agents constantly, and these agents are just sending these off markets to their database, and even if it's like 5 to 10 of like their most serious buyers, that is still competition. So it's not like you're not going to have any competition. It might be a little bit less competition than on market properties, but don't get me wrong, it can be quite heated trying to negotiate an off market property sometimes as well. Now, some agents or vendors might be trying to sell their property for above market value, even with an off market. So it's really important to ensure you do a comparative market analysis, which I will teach you in the next module, to make sure that you don't overpay for the property. Just because it's off market doesn't mean it's a good deal. You need to remember that. Don't just pay whatever the agent tells you just so you can try and secure it off market. You need to really determine whether you're buying the property at the right price, because a lot of off markets I'm seeing these days, the agents are just trying to sell it for $50,000 above market value. Otherwise, they say, okay, we're just going to take it onto the market then if you're not going to pay this price. So yeah, it's definitely not worth paying that much above market value. So always do your own due diligence. Now, I can't stress this enough. Just because a property is off market does not make it a good deal. Good deals can come up anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's off market. It can come on market properties, pre-market properties, or off market properties. It doesn't matter. A good deal is a good deal at the end of the day. Now, time for the exciting part: how to get access to off market and pre-market properties. There is no crazy secret to getting off market and pre-market opportunities. You just have to put the work in. It's as simple as that. You can get plenty of off market opportunities just as buyer's agents like myself do. Here's a list of ways to secure off market and pre-market properties. So there's 4 main ways. One is contacting sales agents, which I would recommend you do. That's the easiest and simplest way to getting off market and pre-market opportunities. Another way is to reach out to buyer's agents to see what off-market opportunities they have available from their connections, because instead of you spending all this time contacting all these agents, buyer's agents are always contacting agents anyways to try and get off-market and pre-markets for their clients, so they might already have some opportunities that might not suit their clients, but you will have to pay them a fee to get an off-market from them. You could also join Facebook groups and find off markets in certain Facebook groups. There's multiple different off market property Facebook groups out there. And the last way is letterbox drops, which is a little bit more, can cost a little bit of money and complicated as well. This is, yeah, it definitely takes a lot longer time. So I don't recommend this for most people. Now I'm going to explain to you how to do each of these methods right now. So the first way, the cheapest and easiest way to get off-market properties is to build relationships with sales agents. You simply want to call and email agents in the suburbs that you're looking in. Calls are usually the best way to stay on top of an agent's mind, but sometimes agents only prefer emails. So you want to have a chat with them, ask them what is their preferred method of communication, and go from there. There are multiple ways that you can connect with agents, which I'm going to show you right now. So you want to go onto domain.com.au and click on Find Agents. Now, when you're contacting agents in an area, it's best to target them by councils. So if we remember our property search, we were looking at Redcliffs, Mildura, Horsham, and Long Gully. Now, Redcliffs and Mildura are in the same council, in the same LGA, which is Mildura. So we'll put these two suburbs together. Horsham is a separate council and Long Gully is a separate council. Now for this demonstration, I'm just going to show Mildura. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say you have multiple suburbs, it's spread out like over 4 councils, as I mentioned. You want to group them all together, right? So Mildura and Redcliffs is one council. So I want to search up agents one council at a time. So I'll start with Mildura, right? So Redcliffs, Victoria, and Mildura. So I've got my 2 suburbs, and then we want to click on, then we want to search, and then we want to click on agents, not agencies. But you can also maybe just email agencies as well. Like, this is a good way to maybe get off markets. When you email an agency, that usually gets sent to their admin or their business development manager, and then they can go and ask agents for you. They'll just go around saying, oh, look, I got someone looking for off markets. You have anything for this? So you can just send emails to just copy and paste like a similar email to all these agencies. But otherwise, it's best to build rapport with individual agents. So you click on agents, and then you want to organize it by most sold. Now, all you want to do is call or email agents. Like I said, calls work best. So ideally, you want to call them first and then send an email if they don't pick up. So you need to email, I'd say, at least 5 to 10 agents, call or email at least 5 to 10 agents in the area, minimum. Like for my buyer's agency, we contact every single agent to make sure we have access to every single opportunity that's available in the area. But look, I do this full time. So for those of you who are working other full-time jobs and you're just investing in property and your job isn't to invest in property, you might not have as much time as me. So maybe just keep it to 5 or 10 agents max. Now, I also make sure when I'm calling agents, I save their number. So when they call me back, I know who's calling. I can address them by their first name. You need to do these little things so you can start building up rapport with agents. Now, I'm not going to give you a script for the calling, but I will for the email, because with calls, you want to try and put your own personality into it. Also, I'll leave a link for a simple agent tracker just below this video, because when you're calling agents, you want to keep track of all their details and write down if they're worth contacting. There are a lot of agents out there who aren't that helpful and probably not worth contacting. So note it down so you don't waste your time calling them. All right, so I've already put in some agents here from Dura, but if you click on this right over here, so Damien, number 1 agent, click on that, it'll come up with a number there. But that you can clearly see is an office number, it's not his mobile number. So that's the mobile number, you can contact the agent directly. Emails typically aren't on domain. So what you want to do is, even to find his actual number, well, there it is, there's his actual number. To find his email, let's say you try to give Damien a call, he doesn't pick up. Let's say you want to find his email, to send him an email, just search up his name and search up the area, the suburb, the region that he operates in, and it should come up there. And his agent emails are typically on the agency's website. So you just search up the agency website and you can find the email there. So you just send him an email, and then you can add his email to this list so you don't forget it. You can add any notes once he responds to you. Let's say if he's friendly, he's not friendly, he doesn't sell any off markets, or maybe he does sometimes. Then you can make a note if he's worth contacting or not. So then you know for next week, okay, I'm not going to call this agent because he's just not worth contacting. If he is worth contacting, you can write down the preference for the contact as well. Do they prefer emails, texts, calls? You don't want to be bugging them on the phone all the time if they're not really an agent that likes to pick up the phone much. Maybe they just prefer emails and just respond in their own time. So you want to write down their preference as well. So, get like 5, 10 of the top agents, and you want to be contacting them every week. But this is how you find out who's most active in the suburbs that you want to be looking in. So some quick tips for contacting agents. You want to call them first and then email if no response. But look, if you're someone who just can't make calls because of work and you just want to copy and paste an email template, then just send emails as many as you can. But typically calling does work best, and sometimes from calls you can get off markets and pre-markets that not many people have. With emails, they usually send out an email blast to a lot of other investors and buyers agents, but with calls, they might just have walked out of an appraisal for a property and be like, oh, hey, I just walked out of this property. This one might be suitable for you, right? So then you might have access to an exclusive off-market opportunity. So that's why I always prefer calls. I've got a lot of really good off-markets just from calls, and a lot of really good off-markets that a lot of buyers agents don't even have access to, just because I have built rapport with the agents and I call them up. Now, you want to make sure you're contacting them weekly or fortnightly minimum. Don't just contact them once and then expect them to come back to you 2 months later, right? You want to stay on top of their mind. And, when you're first calling them, you want to call them and speak to them. And at the end of the call, just let them know, look, if you don't mind, I typically call agents at least once a week or fortnight. Can I just check back in with you? I'll just check back in with you early next week. You just let them know you're going to be probably calling them or emailing them every week or fortnight, because you really want to make sure you're staying on top of their mind. They get bombarded with calls all the time, right? Now, I found typically Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesday mornings work best because you're getting to them early in the week. And as they're working throughout the week, if they start doing more appraisals, going to other properties and maybe sign up some new listings, they'll think of you first. So that's why I prefer start of the week. It doesn't have to be mornings, but look, mornings is ideal. Like I said, start of the day, start of the week, that's ideal. As they progress through their day and their week, if they come up with opportunities, you're already on top of their mind. But in saying that, I have got a lot of opportunities even on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, even on Sundays. I've got an off-market deal that I've closed for clients, so it really doesn't matter. But try to keep it within business hours, Monday to Saturday usually. Sundays, most agents usually tend to take off because they usually work Monday to Saturday. Saturdays, they're running heaps of open homes, so it might actually get hard to contact them on Saturdays because they're so busy with opens. But try to keep it within business hours, so don't call them after 5. Don't be calling them after 6, especially, or 7 p.m. I've heard people calling agents at like 7 p.m. That's just a little bit disrespectful or rude. Not respecting someone's time. You need to be calling them within business hours. Okay. Now, you want to keep in mind that agents are getting calls from so many buyers agents, so many investors and owner occupiers all the time. It's a very tiring job, and they hear the same thing every single time. So you need to find ways to be different. Try to make them laugh a little bit or massage their ego a little bit. Sales agents love that. Give them a compliment and maybe bring up a recent sale that they had when you're calling them and congratulate them for such a great sale. When you're calling an agent for the first time, you might just want to be like, oh, hey, my name's Alan. How you doing today? I just saw you recently sold this address for this price. That's an excellent price. Congrats on the sale. And then you can just say, look, I was just wondering if you had anything similar coming up soon. I'm a pre-approved buyer and I'm ready to purchase right away. So just give them a compliment. Don't just call them up, be like, hey, you got any off markets or pre-markets? They're just going to ignore you. And you don't sound serious like that either. You're not going to be able to build rapport. So try to just stand out a little bit. Realize that on the other end of the phone is another human being. So speak to them as such. Don't try to be a robot. A lot of people will just call and be like, I'm looking for an off-market and pre-market property, and expect agents to just help them as much as possible. That's not how it's going to work. So, compliment them, massage their ego, do what you can to try and stand out. Volume and consistency is very key here. You can't just make 5 calls over the span of a month and wonder why you aren't getting any off-market properties. So try to every single week, 5 or 10 agents. If you can do 20, 30 agents every single week, even better. then you're definitely going to get a lot of off-market and pre-market opportunities. But don't just make 5 calls and in the span of an entire month and wonder why you aren't getting any good properties. Now, also it's important to keep track of the agents. So use that agent tracker to log the details, put some notes in, note if they're helpful or not, if they sell off markets or not. Some agents will straight up tell you, look, I don't sell anything off market or pre-market. Everything has to be sold on the market. So then you can just note that down and okay, I'm not going to call them for off markets or pre-markets. I'll just keep an eye out for whatever listings they have coming on market. So you don't have to waste time calling them every week. And then you can just move on to the next agent. So keep track of agents and volume, consistency, put in the work, and you will get the rewards. Now, here's an off-market email template that you can send to agents who haven't picked up the phone or have told you that they prefer emails, or if you're someone who's just too busy to make calls and you want to send an email instead. So here's an example. What you need to do is you just need to if you want to edit this, you need to click on File, make a copy, and then you can edit this. You can even add example 2, example 3, just so you're not boring and sending the exact same email template every single week. But you can say something like this: look, subject, pre-approved buyer looking to purchase ASAP. Show them that you have a little bit of a sense of urgency and you're a serious buyer, you're already pre-approved. You can say, hi Damien, I'm a pre-approved investor, actively looking for my next investment property, and I wanted to check if you have anything pre-market or off-market that fits this criteria. You can say pre-market or off-market, or you can even say I wanted to check if you have anything coming up soon. And just a brief overview of your criteria. So you're actually helping them. They're not just going to, when you're more specific, the more specific you can be, the more easily they can help you as well. So let's say looking for a freestanding house, budget of, put whatever budget you need, minimum, whatever you want, 3-bed, 1 bath, or if you're happy with even 2-bed, 1 bath, that's okay. Ideally above 500 square meters or slightly smaller is okay, or whatever land size you're looking for. Maybe you're looking in an area where the average land size is even much smaller, so you can even say above 300 or whatever it may be. Or maybe you're looking for a townhouse or something, so it doesn't really matter as much. You can say ideally on a quiet street and preferred suburbs, you just want to put that there. Now you can just say if you have anything that fits or even something close, please let me know. I'm ready to move quickly and I'd love to help you get a deal done before it even hits the market. Looking forward to speaking with you. Best regards. Your name and your contact details as well. So put your mobile number there. So if they want to call you, they know who to call. You can say something similar when you're on the phone as well, right? But just add a little bit of jokes to it and some compliments to it, especially if you're calling for the first time. Just be like, hey Damien, my name's Alan, how are you doing today? By the way, congrats on that sale from this last week, this address, that was a fantastic price. Congrats on that sale. So thank you. Yeah, it's a really hot market, blah, blah, blah. And you can just say, oh, look, I was just wondering if you had anything similar coming up. I'm really keen on securing something like that soon as well. Got my pre-approval and I'm looking for a property just like that. And if they ask, are you open to, they might ask some questions. Are you open to maybe a 3-bed, 1 bath or 3-bed, 2 bath, whatever it may be? You can some brief overview of the suburbs you're looking at and things like that as well, and just go from there. And then at the end you can just ask them on the phone, like, what's your preferred contact method? Try to remember to ask them that, just because some agents, they just might not be worthwhile calling all the time. Some agents are just not good on the phone, and you can pick this up quickly anyways. Like, let's say if you try to call an agent multiple times, they're still not picking up, maybe you just stick to emails for them, so that's fine. So you can use this quick template. You can just copy and paste this, change the name around when you're sending it to different agents, or if you're sending it to an agency, you can just remove the name overall and just add your name at the bottom and your number and edit this accordingly. You don't want to, if your budget isn't 500 to 650, don't put 500 to 650. Apart from using domain.com, you can also use a website like ratemyagent.com.au, and the only thing about this one is I just don't like that you can't add in multiple suburbs. So for Domain, how we added Mildura and Redcliffs, we can't add both of those suburbs in, right? So we can only search up one suburb at a time. That's the only thing that I don't like about this one. But yeah, let's say we search up Mildura. A lot of the agents in Mildura will operate in Redcliffs anyway. But if you're operating in maybe slightly larger regions, like let's say Melbourne CBD, the northern suburbs of Melbourne, you're looking for properties all over the Hume LGA. There's some agents that might only operate towards the northern part of the Hume LGA, and some only that operate to the southern part. So it's just a bit tough. That's why it's just a little bit easier to use Domain, because you can search up all the suburbs you're looking at in a council and find the top performing sales agents that have operated in all of those suburbs. But you can also feel free to use Rate My Agent. Same thing. You just click on the details. You can find their number here. If you want to find their email, just search up their name and the region and try to find the agency website, and you can usually find their email on the agency website. You can even ask agents that you're calling for online listings for any off-market or pre-market properties as well. So, let's say in our search, we're looking at online properties and we're interested in this one here. There's the agent here, 2 agents, we can call one of them, and let's say we wanted to speak about this property. We ask them a couple questions, and then at the end of the call, we can even say, do you also have anything else coming up off market or pre-market? Because, I'm a pre-approved buyer. I'm looking to secure something ASAP. So you can even just ask agents that you're calling there and then try to add them onto the tracker as well. So you can slowly build out your list of agents, and you'll quickly start to work out which agents are worth calling, which agents are not. And you can really refine that list over time. After a week or two, it'll be even more refined, and you're not going to be wasting time calling all these agents that aren't worth calling because you've already filtered them out. So once again, volume, consistency, and building rapport is key to getting off-market properties from sales agents. I can't stress this enough. Don't treat them like a robot. Speak to them like a human being. Put in the work, and the off-market and pre-market properties will come. It's not a magical thing that only buyers agents or these big companies that can get. You can get access to off-market and pre-market properties as well. Now, another way to get off-market properties is through buyers agents. It's quite easy to find buyers agents with a quick Google search, or you can find them on large property investing Facebook groups, or on Instagram, which is where a lot of you guys found me. So you can just message other buyers agents on Facebook, Instagram, or find their contacts through Google and just ask if they have any off markets in the suburbs that you're looking in, and maybe give them a brief overview of what you're looking at as well in terms of your brief. Now, keep in mind, buyers agents will typically charge you a finder's fee of 2,000 plus GST if you secure an off-market property that they might have that might not be suitable for their clients. So when you message them, just let them know up front that you're happy to pay a 2,000 plus GST finder's fee once the contract goes unconditional on the property. Some buyers agents will try to charge you a full buyer's agent fee of $10,000 to $20,000, which is what you don't want. So stay away from these buyer's agents, especially because you're doing this course. And if you're looking to do it yourself, you don't need a full buyer's agent service. You're just looking to secure an off-market deal. So you can just tell them, look, you don't need a full buyer's agent service. You're just looking to secure an off-market deal. You can do all the work, all the due diligence, negotiation, things like that. So yeah, you want to stay away from those types of buyer's agents. But if you're really looking to use a full buyer's agent service, let's say you're going through this course and you find that you maybe don't have the time, or you're just struggling to implement a lot of these strategies and the analysis and the research, then just shoot me a message on here on skool.com.au or on Instagram to see if you might be the right fit for my own services. Because for those of you who don't know, I run my own buyer's agency called Simple Capital Advisory. Simple Capital Academy, which is what you're in right now doing this course, is for people who want to take the DIY route and not use a buyer's agent. But for people who don't have the time and would rather outsource the work and use a buyer's agent, I run Simple Capital Advisory as well, which is my investment-focused buyer's agency. Now, the third way to get off-market properties are through off-market Facebook groups. You'll see a lot of buyer's agents and investors post off-markets in there, but just be mindful that you will have to pay a finder's fee if you secure the deal once again. So you'll especially see buyer's agents spam off-markets in there to try and sign up a client, but let them know you're only happy to pay a $2,000 plus GST finder's fee instead, because you're happy to do all the work yourself. You just want to see if you can secure an off-market deal. You can just search up off-market properties Australia or something along those lines, put in those keywords, and you can find heaps and heaps of different off-market Facebook groups. Try and look for the largest groups and see which groups have the most people active. There's a handful of groups out there where a lot of investors and buyers agents especially are very active and just posting off-market properties in there constantly. Now, the fourth way to get off markets is a lot more time consuming, and that is letterbox drops. Letterbox drops are the best way to get off markets that no one else has access to. if you go to another buyer's agent or sales agent, the odds are that other people have access to those off markets as well. It won't have as much competition as an on market property, but it typically will have a few other buyers or buyer's agents that are looking at the same property. However, letterbox drops are a way to get an off market deal direct from the seller, which usually means there is no other competition for it. You just have to write a simple letter. You can say something along the lines of, "Hi, I'm a property investor looking in your suburb for my next investment property. Please give me a call if you're looking to sell your house for a great price and save tens of thousands of dollars on sales agent and marketing fees. Kind regards," and just put your name, number, and email so then they can contact you. Now, once you've written up your letter, print out as many copies as you can, and the cheapest way is to just hand deliver them yourself if you live near the suburbs. But because as an investor we want to invest Australia-wide, you can just pay someone to deliver them for you on airtasker.com.au. So just hop onto that website, post a job, just say you need someone to drop off letters in this suburb, and you deliver all the letters to them. Once they get it, you can just ask them to post all the letters in the suburb that you're targeting. Ask them to use a tracking app, so then you can see their travel route and you can see what streets they've gone down and where they've actually dropped off all the letters. And you can just put your letters in an envelope or put it directly in the mailbox. That's up to you. But yeah, that's a way to get thousands of letters dropped off without actually spending much time. But you probably have to spend a couple $100 printing it all out and then getting someone to actually do the job for you. Now, some quick tips on letterbox drops. Making your letter interesting, add a bright color to the letter or the envelope, just something that will make your letter stand out. With letterbox drops, volume is key. You'll need to drop off thousands and thousands of letters just to get a few off-market opportunities. And sometimes people might call you 3 months or 4 months, maybe even 6 months later after you've dropped off the letter as well. So it can take a bit more time. Now, I personally haven't bought any properties myself or for my clients in my buyer's agency using letterbox drops, but I do know a lot of property developers and property flippers get some of the best deals like this. It just takes a lot more time and volume. So I would personally recommend the first method of getting off markets that I mentioned, which is contacting sales agents. This, in my opinion, is the most efficient way to get off market properties. Yes, other buyers might have access to them as well, but it won't be as much competition as on market properties. Usually, if it's a good off market and you have a good relationship with the agent, and it's the least time consuming contacting sales agents, just making quick calls and emails and things like that. And now that is 3 different ways that you can source properties, which is on market, pre-market, and off market. And I've just given you 4 ways that you can find off market opportunities as well. So there's ample opportunities out there. You just have to put the work in and go get those opportunities. Now on to the next video, which is how to conduct due diligence on your property and identify A-grade opportunities. Now, if you enjoyed that training video, that is actually part of a module 4, A-grade properties in Simple Capital Academy. So Simple Capital Academy is a private community where there's a community section. You can ask any question, get your questions answered in depth in 12 to 24 hours. You can also earn money in Simple Capital Academy. You can get 30% recurring commission from every member that you've referred using your link, which if you watch that video, I'll show you exactly how to do that. Very simple. The property trading system course in Simple Capital Academy teaches you everything from start to finish in how to maximize your growth and generate life-changing wealth through residential property investing. The suburb watch list shows you hundreds of interesting suburbs all around the country to look at in all sorts of budgets, from $400,000 to $1 million. There'll also be regular masterclasses as well to refine your skills. But as I mentioned, the video you just watched is actually part of Module 4. It's all about 3 ways to source properties and 4 ways to secure off-market properties. And there's some resources here as well, like the agent tracker and the off-market email template. But there's just countless training videos, all in order to maximize your growth. Starting from your philosophy, understanding the fundamentals and the 3 pillars of price growth, understanding how to find your highest growth suburbs and what not to look for as well. That's very important, especially with all the misinformation out there in the property industry. There's so many people telling you need to look for this to maximize your growth, and there's a lot of fluff out there, and a lot of things just don't matter for capital growth. There's only 15 things that you need to look at to maximize growth, and there's the 3 main pillars of capital growth, which you'll learn all about in this course. Now there's A-grade property. You'll get introduced to the A-grade property checklist, exactly how to do all the initial due diligence. Then the next due diligence, which is asking questions, checking the contracts and vendor statement, doing a comparative market analysis, cash flow calculations, how to conduct inspections. There's an inspection template if you want to inspect yourself, or if you want to inspect remotely for free. I teach you exactly how to do that, how to secure the deal and negotiate like a pro, how to guide a smooth settlement, and even when to sell your property as well. So very comprehensive course. And for all of this, you'd think that I'd be charging thousands of dollars, because just like property gurus out there who are charging $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 for their courses, this is only 12 USD per month, which is 19 Australian dollars per month. Cancel at any time, and you get 2 months free if you want to sign up for the yearly membership. And also keep in mind, you can also earn money in here as well. So your membership will pretty much pay for itself if you refer 3 other people in here, because you get a 30% commission as well. So this is the highest value for money paid community in the country. If you enjoy that video and you want to learn more, just go into school.school.com/simplecapital-about, and you will find this community here, and then you can just sign up and start learning.